अस्सलाम वालेकुम, मेरा नाम है इब्राहिम और मैं आपके शो के साथ हाजिर हूँ। आज का शो हमने एसेंशली डिस्कशन करना है पाकिस्तान की जो टीम न्यूजीलैंड के लिए रवाना होने वाली है 2-3 हफ्ते के अंदर। एज यू नो कि वी आर प्लेइंग 5 ODIs इन 3 T20s, देयर आर नो टेस्ट मैचेस। टीम जो है वो अनाउंस हो गई है। उसके अंदर जो लास्ट टीम श्रीलंका के अगेंस्ट खेली उसके मुकाबले में सिर्फ 2 चेंजेस नज़र आई हैं। एक तो ये कि अहमद शहजाद को रिप्लेस किया है अजहर अली ने, और एक उस्मान शनवारी की जगह मोहम्मद आमिर को टीम में वापस लेके आया गया है। So I think which is a great sign because Mohammad Amir, I feel कि वो be a great asset for Pakistan, न्यूजीलैंड के अंदर न्यूजीलैंड की पिचेस के ऊपर being our premium bowler. जो चीज़ थोड़ी surprising है वो ये है कि मोहम्मद हफीज़ is still in the team even though he cannot bowl. Hafiz not being able to bowl is always a big setback for Pakistan team because in my mind he plays more of a bowler than a batsman. Batting उसकी is very suspect especially when he plays in New Zealand and Australia on those pitches के ऊपर. But his bowling is pretty on point, especially to left-handed batsmen के लिए. तो let's see what happens. दूसरी 2 खबरें और बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग, एक तो ये कि जो नासिर जमशेद जो पाकिस्तानी ओपनर थे उन पे PCB की तरफ से जो इशू था उसके ऊपर 1 साल का बैन लगा है स्पॉट फिक्सिंग के हवाले से, which in my mind is not a huge loss because he was not in the team already. He was being replaced by Sharjeel already. So Sharjeel not playing 3 साल के लिए, that's a major problem. On a positive note, India के star batsman captain Virat Kohli got married yesterday with Anushka Sharma, जो Bollywood की one of the best actresses right now. और तो हमारी तरफ से क्रिकेट वर्ल्ड की तरफ से हमारे पाकिस्तान की तरफ से पाकिस्तान क्रिकेट फैन की तरफ से विराट कोहली और उनकी फैमिली को बहुत बहुत मुबारक. We wish them all the very best. So with that said, I need to share with you that of course we're live on Facebook and TV1. Please, you can call us. Our lines are open. And Dr. Kashif Ansari is not here today. He's in Dubai. He's going to go and be part of the T10 का जो 10 overs का tournament हो रहा है उसके अंदर दुबई के अंदर, तो kind of more of an observer. As you know, he's very against it. He called me from Dubai today and he's still very upset about the whole thing. He feels that Pakistani players should not be playing in a 10-over game. So with that said, I want to introduce you to our 2 guests today. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you.
So you guys have already met Dr. Riaz. He's been on the show a couple of times in the past, and I want to introduce you guys to Peter. Peter Welling, actually, he's an ex-first-class player. He plays for Middlesex. Retired from first-class cricket in 1997, and for the last 20 years, he's been essentially traveling all over the world and coaching cricket. And it's a great honor for us as cricket fans in U.S. He has moved to Houston back in January, and he will be, inshallah, playing a very big role in developing cricket in USA. That's his big goal. I had a meeting with him last week, and I kind of explained all his plans, and his big focus is essentially on the youth. So great news for people especially for people of Houston, Dallas, nearby place, but cities jo hain. Magar I know for a fact he'll be traveling all over the US and he's going to promote cricket. So with that said, welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're very welcome, Peter. Thank you for being here.
It's a real pleasure. Actually, we've been looking to get together for a little while, and to come out on a Monday night and talk cricket, well, I'll do that anytime.
No, I appreciate you being here. And so just for Riaz bhai, just for the record, Peter speaks and understands Urdu, so if you're going to say anything, he's going to pick up on it.
We have to give him some buzzwords.
Right. So, I mean, people can call in and speak to Peter in Urdu or in English, but if he needs help with Urdu, Riaz bhai will jump in.
Sure.
So let's start with that. Why don't we Riaz bhai, start with Pakistani team? I know the team is announced. How do you feel about the team? Hafiz still there, and then they made 2 changes. Ahmad Shahzad ki aur iski. So you can speak Urdu, English, both, because our viewers understand both languages.
First of all, from our side as well for Virat Kohli, congratulations. I mean, arguably he's the most impact player for the last 10 to 15 years. I hope his form stays the same after marriage too. So
yeah, let's see.
Yes, and as far as the Pakistan team is concerned, I think there were not too many major surprises. I think there's a couple of things that Hafiz's selection I would kind of disagree with it. Although he was in the form of his life at this point, but the major impact that he was doing was mostly with the ball.
Right.
Especially in the beginning, especially to the left-hander. So I personally would not have picked him, especially when there is so much about his bowling action. I think he should have gone back and improved his action and then try to make a comeback. Otherwise, I think the Pakistan's strength is going to be the pace. And, we have got Hassan Ali, Amir, And obviously Junaid Khan, I think, is going to be the third one, or Reis.
No, they're there. Roman.
Reis,
Of course, you can't play all four of them. Maybe you can, but it'll be difficult.
Yeah, I think Amir's place is secure and Hassan Ali. So I think Junaid and Reis will have to fight it out for the spot. Having said that, I think New Zealand, are at the peak at this point as well. I mean, आजकल वो West Indies के साथ खेले, and I think they're doing really, really good. Right. I mean, they won the first Test match easily, and then I think they're on top of the second Test match as well. So, उनके जो fast bowler, and I think they are really good in New Zealand conditions.
Oh yeah, Southey, Trent Bolt, these guys
Bolt and other Warner is another one, and Wagner, sorry, and he is really quick. I think he clocked 160. So I think
really,
yes, one of the, and so there were some controversies on it. Whether the ball hit the bird or something, and that caused it, or I mean, but it did clock 160.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
Machine gun, speed gun, first time made in China.
Or hit something. So I mean, anyway, he's really quick.
It can happen. You never know.
And Tim Southey, he does really great swing. He's like Jim Anderson in UK. I mean, how good the swing is. So I think Pakistan is a set team at this point. But I personally think I would, although I'm a Pakistan cricket fan, I would give still New Zealand an edge in the series to start with.
3-2.
That's what I think. I think it will be hard for the Pakistan batsmen to cope with the bounce and pace.
ठीक है. आपका क्या ख्याल है?
Yeah, so I've always been a huge fan of Pakistan cricket, particularly the pace bowling. And we were talking earlier about Hassan Ali, the sort of dynamic he's brought to the team. Fit, energetic. He is what I call at the batsman. When he's running in at you. And he's going to make you play every ball. He's going to make you play with a vertical bat. He's the epitome of what a young Pakistani fast bowler can be now. Mohammad Amir, when he's on song, he's up there with Wasim in his ability to take wickets with a new ball, particularly if the ball swings back in. If you're a left arm quick and you can get it up above 85 miles an hour or 140 in kilometers an hour, and you can bend the ball back in, you can knock anybody over. So those two, extremely dangerous. Wahab I've always liked. He's old school. He runs in. Yeah, he runs in like a madman, bowls as fast as he can. He gets it to tail away, bowls well at the death. So, those three, I think, are going to make a big impact. But in New Zealand, you've got, their pace attack is very useful. Trent Bolt just goes under the radar in the quality he produces, but he never bowls badly. He runs through the crease beautifully. He's got good pace. He just bowls all day. He's right up there with Mitchell Starc as arguably the best left-arm quick in the world.
Wow.
I would say. I think
you're putting him next to on the same level. That's pretty much close to. Because I don't know why I feel that Mitchell Starc is in a class of its own at this point. Amir, and 5 years ago, maybe a similar level, but I feel that Mitchell Starc is just almost unplayable. In
the capacity of what he can do, he can get it to 150, 95 miles an hour and swing it in, and whoa, all of a sudden this is like the quickest left arm you've ever seen, and 6'5", 6'6". But Trent Bolt is a bit like Dale Steyn. He just runs through the crease. He comes at you all the time. He's not quite as quick, but in terms of a class left-arm operator, I just think he's right up there. I think he's right up there.
So it kind of feels like it's going to be like a battle of like left-arm bowlers. I mean, Amir versus there. We have two pretty good ourselves. But Hassan, I think, he's number one bowler right now in ODIs, right?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Right. I mean, from nowhere. He just shows up and he's... So, but do they have a quality spinner like Shadab in their team?
Not at this point, but I personally think the spin won't matter too much on New Zealand pitch. I mean, especially unless it's a really world-class spinner. I think it is going to be mostly battle between the pacers and the batsmen. I think one concern I do have that Pakistan, the fatigue factor may kick in. I think Pakistan
fatigue.
The problem is that Hassan Ali, I mean, non-stop he's been
playing.
He went to BPL as well, So
BPL में क्या 4 over कराने T20 के अंदर.
Yeah, I think that's what one of my concern is, just like getting overused, and I'm really concerned about ये जो छोटी-मोटी leagues आ रही हैं, and then like
this the 10 over Ramzan tournament जो करवा रहे हैं.
I think it's a very controversial, especially for Pakistan Cricket Board to get involved in it.
I'm sure. Are you Dr. Ansari today or what?
I'm not sure.
This is exactly what he said.
The problem is that I think it's not regulated at this point. अगर इसको आप you can play it like a Hong Kong 6 over game.
Right.
I mean, as a
comedy
exhibition cricket is fine. But Pakistan
Cricket
Board, The problem with that, Pakistan Cricket Board, I think, made a deal of like $400,000, and then they, in the return, are going to give like 26 of the Pakistan players, out of which like 10 to 15 are contract players, and the other issue is that, a lot of these are going to be managed by the Indian teams, I mean, so that's, and also there is an issue of bookies. There's a big concern at this point.
That's why Kashif
bookies,
is there. Actually, he was on Geo TV today,
right.
and it was Pakistan Geo TV.
Yeah.
He just was very brutal about the whole thing.
Wow.
I heard the National Cricket Academy in Lahore, I mean, the bookies are walking around the cricket stadium with lawyers, and they are staying, I mean, in the hotels, and everyone knows about it,
Let's
I mean,
let's
more
hope
needs to be done
nothing
there.
crazy happens. But I think the concerns are valid. Peter, आपके ख्याल में क्या अमेरिका के अंदर जो क्रिकेट है अभी शुरू हुई है पिछले 5-10 साल के अंदर, अगले 10-15 साल, 10-15 years, what is the strategy if life was a buffet and let's say you were the person money was not an issue, how would you structure? क्या आप करोगे Texas के अंदर, California के अंदर? Of course, some states are, you can play पूरा साल यहाँ पे 12 महीने, 12 months you can play, in some states you cannot play 12 महीने. So overall, can I please take all the time you need to kind of walk us through? A lot of us don't even know cricket, at what level we are. I mean, are we like 10 years away from Test cricket or 50 years away from Test cricket?
Some very good questions there. Firstly, let me qualify with my remarks now. I've coached in about 12 different states. I've spoke at dinners and gone around and met people all over the country. There is a groundswell of desire to do things differently in America. I think the game's probably flatlined for the last 20 or 30 years. What I can say is those people are now desperate to take our game to where we want it to be. And if you look at a country like Afghanistan, what they have done, we spoke about this last week, that's one of the greatest sporting stories, not just cricket, that's one of the greatest sporting stories in history. A war-torn country with absolutely no advantages whatsoever. And there they go, they produce this fantastic side, they've got Rashid Khan, this fantastic leg spinner, they've got these quicks, they've got some batters, they become the #1 associate nation and they get granted Test status. That's a fantastic story. I can say that the talent in this country I've seen is as good as I've seen in England, I've seen in India, Australia, anywhere I've been, South Africa, the talent here is good enough to take us right through potentially to Test status. How long will it take? It's not going to be a quick fix, but if we do things properly, and I mean, when I say we, I mean USA Cricket, support from the ICC, but it's ostensibly the USA Cricket community, of which there are a lot of Pakistani guys involved in that. If we do it properly, within 3 to 4 years, you should notice significant difference. We're in World Cricket League 3 at the moment. We really want to be promoted out of that, get into World Cricket League 2.
So can you help us understand a bit of what's the difference between 1, 2, and 3?
Okay, so I'm not an expert on this.
But just to kind of ballpark.
Okay, so the top associate nation was, I think, Afghanistan, then Ireland. Okay. So they applied for Test status and were granted Test status. Then below that you might have the UAE, you might have Scotland, the Netherlands. I think Netherlands are now getting right to the top of associate cricket, basically winning in World Cricket League 2 to get right up into becoming a fully affiliated member. We're in Div 3. USA played Nepal last week and beat them, but they also lost to Oman, they lost to Malaysia. So there's a lot of competition around there. And if you look at the UAE side, it looks to me, I'm not an expert on it, but it looks to me a lot of Indian and Pakistani guys who have moved to the Emirates for family and for jobs and are now eligible to represent, and they're very, very good players. And the standard of UAE cricket obviously improves, and that's why they're in the World Cup in 2015. So there are a lot of things we need to do. We need more qualified coaches. We need, following on from that, a schools program. 99.99% of cricket in the US is played on artificial wickets, concrete with a carpet effectively on it.
We play on that.
Yeah, you know that, and I coach on that in the majority. I think there's only about 10, possibly 12 grass wickets in the entire country. There are 2 in Houston with Saki Mohammed, our good Pakistani friend, has built the wonderful Musa Stadium.
Saki has done a phenomenal Musa Stadium. It's what I hear is I need to go check it out. I heard it's beautiful.
He deserves enormous credit, to take the initiative to do that. And my first ICC event when we ran the Houston U19 combines in April, we held them at Musa. And he's now built a second ground with another grass wicket. Woodley Park in Los Angeles has 4 pitches, all with grass wickets, which is a fantastic facility. You've got the Fort Lauderdale facility in Florida. Mir Ali has just built a grass wicket in Bolingbrook, which is in Chicago. And there are a couple of others dotted around the place. There may be others, I'm sorry if I've missed them. But like I say, you're talking about a handful of grass wickets and 10,000 artificial wickets. And our kids are growing up in this country playing on those artificial wickets. Then if they get the chance to play for the US at U17 or U19 level, we're throwing them into these competitions, and of course they're on grass. So I've worked with some very high quality young players in this country who during selection trials have come to me and they've said, "Coach, you know we're playing on grass here for this 50 over match?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I've never played on grass before." And one of them is the best young player I've seen in this country. He came up to me quietly. He said, "Coach, I've never played on grass before." I said, "Just be yourself. It'll be a learning curve. But going forward, we've got to get more grass wickets." And I think we will. Interestingly enough, and I think Riaz, you'll be interested in this, there is a possibility that cricket may get into the Olympics in the 2024 as a T20.
Did you hear? That's right. Huge news.
I'm hearing that from 1 or 2 different sources. So let's keep that on the back burner.
Right.
If that happens, can you imagine the
Game changer.
impact? Yeah. So rugby's a sport I love. Soccer's been in the Olympics now, I don't know how many years now, but rugby got in the 2016 Olympics. The American rugby sevens side are a fantastic side. They've got 2 ex-track sprinters on there, and you know they put a lot of investment in that to try and get a gold medal. I see no reason why if cricket gets into the 2024 Olympics, the same thing won't happen.
There's so many positives. We need to take a commercial break from the TV1, but of course we'll stay live with Facebook and YouTube. So go ahead, let's take a commercial break, guys. Fantastic. So this is, what you feel कि जो सबसे बड़ा problem वो ये है कि it's not the shortage of fields. Even let's say in Houston के अंदर, we probably have probably 7, 8, 9 cricket grounds, if not more. 3 in Katy. There's one in West Belford.
2 in Matsky.
Yeah,
Belford,
Matsky. So
Stafford, Moosa. Yeah, you're over 10. You're over 10.
And so out of that 10, you probably have 1 that anybody can use as grass because it's way more expensive. So
I think to understand cricket in USA, you have to go back a little bit to the history. You know, cricket is one of the oldest games played in USA. You know, the first match between Canada and America was played in 1844.
That was the first ever international match.
Right.
18 what?
1844. You would not believe it. And in that era, 10,000 people attended that game, by the way. And you know,
are you kidding me?
Yes, Australian team toured US. You know what happened is that afterwards, because the game is too long at that time, the pace, people, and there was a civil war at that time, and you'll be surprised to hear that these were 3 cricket players who came up with the rules of baseball, and that's how the baseball started. You know, it tailored from the cricket and went into the shorter format.
Riaz, may I come in there? Did you know that during the Declaration of Independence, the founding fathers stopped halfway through to play cricket? And also, when they were coming up with the Constitution and deciding who was going to be, what's the name of the person who's going to be in charge of our political system, I think one of them, maybe Thomas Jefferson or somebody said, what about Prime Minister? And no, that's too British. What about, who's the head of a cricket club? And somebody went, he's called the president. And they went, right, he's going to be called a president.
Wow.
Isn't that an amazing story?
I got to tell all my American friends this story. I got to make some calls tomorrow.
I think as far as the cricket is concerned, you know, I mean, we're going to talk about there should be short-term goals and long-term goals, you know. But just from the philosophical terms, I think there's a couple of things that needs to be done. One is America is like a consumer society, you know, so anything that you package well does usually well. So I think you have to repackage it for American way. You know, right now it's considered for a general American, you know, cricket, I see it getting played everywhere, but if you ask an American in middle of the America, I mean, they don't know too much about it. So you have to repackage it to create interest over there.
I think पहली बात तो ये है कि जब तक schools के अंदर, like, you know, you're coaching in the British school, you know, until this starts at a school level where the kids are, you know, frankly speaking, there are 2, 3 biggest sports in school, right? You have football, you have basketball, and baseball. So I think football, a lot of parents, like even myself, like, I'm not comfortable with my son playing football. I think it's too dangerous, right? Basketball, it is, frankly speaking, it's for kids who are like really, really tall. I mean, yes, anybody can play it, you know, but it's, I mean, if you have a 12-year-old who's this height and you have a 2-year-old this height, so I feel like cricket could be a sport where it can involve a lot of other, you know, kids who cannot play basketball or for one reason or the other, or cannot, it's too dangerous, or football is too dangerous for them. Cricket could be a very good, viable option for a lot of those kids. It's cleaner, it's safer. You know, if you're short, no issues. You can become a batsman, it's an advantage. If you're tall, no issues. You can become a bowler.
Right. But sport around the world's in a very fluid situation at the moment. So I think there's 4, possibly 6 NFL games in London this year at Twickenham Rugby Stadium and Wembley Stadium. Ireland, in rugby, I think rugby's my other sport, Ireland played New Zealand. New Zealand are the best sporting team in any sport. Just statistically, they've got the best record ever. They played at Soldier Field. Chicago Cubs' home ground. They played in June. 70,000 people attended that game. Soccer, America are world champions in women's soccer, and we talked about this. If you look at participation around the US in terms of a sport amongst children, soccer would be right up there.
Yep.
So if cricket is done properly here, there's absolutely no reason. It'll probably be T20 format.
It has to be.
Right,
okay? It has to be.
Probably T20. So we're talking coloured clothing and white balls. That's when we can roll it out.
It's made for the American consumer. I mean, it's fast-paced. It's a lot of halla gulla, you know, their home run every other over. I mean, so
I think the main thing right now, I mean, it's very loosely structured at this point. I think the one main board should be very strong at this point. I think one thing the cricket needs right now is like an inspiring figure, you know, like larger than life, something that bring, you know, American is always about winning, heroism, you know. Right now you cannot pick one person that, you know, you can identify with Cricket USA, you know.
We're going live. I want to listen to this on live TV. Give me just 1 second. They're going live back. Go ahead, guys. वेलकम बैक व्यूअर्स ब्रेक के दरमियान हम लोग एसेंशियली यही बात कर रहे थे कि यूएस के अंदर क्रिकेट का क्या फ्यूचर है पीटर वाज एसेंशियली kind of sharing some of his ideas. Riaz bhai kind of gave us some background on के the first one of the games was played in America was back in 1844 between US and Canada. That's the cricket was, so apparently it's been around मगर other sports have taken over. So lines are open. अगर आप चाहें तो call करें. If you have any questions about if your kids who want to get involved, if you have any batting, bowling tips if you need, if you're a cricket player anywhere in America, you have specific question about your technique or bowling or batting के हवाले से, this will be the perfect time. So please call us and take advantage of the fact that both of these experts are right here. अच्छा, so we're back on TV. So please अपनी बात खत्म करें डॉक्टर साहब, please go ahead.
So I mean, we were discussing the short-term and long-term goals, but just from a philosophical standpoint, I think we need heroes. We need some faces that people can identify with U.S. cricket. You know, like, I mean, I know Michael Jordan's type.
Yeah, how do we do that?
So here's the thing. I mean, sponsors, first of all, right now at this point, problem I see is funding, you know.
Yeah.
I think sponsorship is there. Look at the ESPN, you know. The viewership of the last T20 was 1 million in North America. Second highest viewership after India. So the people who are hungry for the cricket is there, you know. But like we discussed, it has to be repackaged to reach.
So how does it work? So from business perspective, so let's say in England, right? I mean, you played for Middlesex. Kind of help me understand. In Pakistan, we have Pakistan Cricket Board. I mean, they don't do a phenomenal job in terms of domestic cricket, right? So I mean, I don't want to get into that discussion. That's Kashi Bhai's job. He's going to go and he rips him apart every week here. But help me understand, like, how is cricket is structured in England, and can that model be followed here, and where the money come from?
Yeah, that's interesting. Let's say you're a young cricketer and you show some ability. So you join your local club, you get into your...
This is in England, right?
Yeah, in England. You get into your under-13 side for your club. Then you do well for your club, you get into your area side or your borough side. So Richmond has been my club there, you know, near Heathrow Airport. You play for Richmond Borough, which is the collection of all the best Richmond clubs and the best Richmond players. Then you go into your area or your region, which might be southwest London or southwest Middlesex. Then if you do really well, you get the chance of going into the Middlesex under-13 squad. So it's a constant funneling and pyramid of high ability. Then you might go into the south of England and then potentially to play for the England under-13s, 15s or 17s. And I think we do that. In terms of organisation in the UK, we do it pretty well. One or two of the things, the way we're coaching there, I've sort of been at odds in a little bit. I think if a youngster can bowl fast, they should be encouraged to bowl fast. We've also had a thing in the UK and England about picking the bat up dead straight. I don't agree with that. I think you should pick the bat up towards the slips. Just be more natural. So Moeen Ali is a very good example of a young Muslim player, Pakistani heritage, who's come in and is now absolutely a key part of our side. He picks the bat up really high. He plays flowing, a bit like Saeed Anwar type shots, a bit Gower-esque, a bit Saeed Anwar. He's just a fantastic all-round package, and I really hope in 2 days' time he can make a big impact at Perth in the Ashes, because obviously we've had a bit of a struggle there. But that would be our system.
So you have clubs, right?
Yeah, we have clubs.
So you have
it's not schools. It's schools do a role, but the development of players in England is by the clubs.
So who owns clubs?
A lot of them own themselves. So Richmond Cricket Club it's our own club, and Ealing, where I was before, it's our own club. We cut our own grass. We own.
Like when you say we, like city owns it, or is it an individual? Some rich guy owns the club?
No, it's trustees. The majority of clubs own their land, and they have a 100-year lease, and the club is there specifically for cricketing reasons. Some inner city clubs have moved to the outskirts, so they've sold their inner city land to real estate developers, got big bucks for it, then moved out of town where they can build a huge ground with car park and facilities and still have some money left in the bank. That's been a sort of model that's been quite common in the UK.
So a group of people, friends got together and they started a club, right? Essentially that's what it is? And
yeah, a little bit like that, yeah.
But they don't get any funding from the city or the state?
Okay, so we have Premier Leagues in England. So if you really want to make it into professional cricket, it will be advantageous to be at a Premier League club, whether it be Walsall or Wolverhampton in the Midlands, or Smethwick, where Wasim Akram played, those kind of clubs. Up north, if you're playing in the Yorkshire League, the Bradford League, the Surrey League down south, the Middlesex League, Essex League, a recognised Premier League, where the county will have some contacts. A lot of the second 11 players in the county will also play for their clubs at weekend. You know, a little bit like the grade system. You may also sometimes see the first-class players. So Mark Ramprakash, England batting coach, he plays for Stanmore in the Middlesex League, and Ramps has played for them for 30 years now. Do you know, he's still loyal, and he still played last year. So when he's not coaching England, he still plays club cricket there, which obviously is brilliant for the Middlesex League, I think.
So the fundamental thing is that it's initially anybody can start a club, right? And they go and buy the land. A group of people gets together and they support the club. How does a club, a small club, let's say I want to start a club in Sugar Land, Texas, right? What is the process like? I mean, people get together, they go buy land, they put their money in. How do they make money? How do they pay for the expenses?
Well, I'm head coach at Sugarland Youth Cricket Club, and we have 70 or 80 young players from the Sugarland area, which is, you know, the biggest Pakistani Indian community in the whole of Houston. They're a non-profit, so the club is not there to make money, but there'll be registration fees. They use Sugarland grounds. We use Duhaksek Park. We have some other access to facilities. Tomorrow we have a practice session in a baseball facility, and we rent 2 net lanes there, and we have some youngsters come in and do batting drills. And there will also be sponsorship and fundraising events as well. So anything that can keep the sustainability of the club going, and while we're growing and bringing kids in, which we are, we've got girls and boys aged 6 or 7 upwards. And like I say, we're approaching nearly 80 young cricketers now in Sugarland. I would love to see us put a 0 on the end of that. Get some more qualified coaches and have 200, 300, 400, 500 kids. In England, I think Spencer Cricket Club has the largest colt section in the country. They have 800 colts. We call it colts in England. They have 800 colts. They're based in Wandsworth. Richmond, my club, has 500. There's no reason why we can't do that over here.
So I'm a process guy, you know, so I'm trying to understand how do we create a model and perfect it in Houston and then go replicate it 100 other places.
I think in America it has to be private investors. And I think there's a lot of people like, I was studying like Pandya, Jay Pandya is an Indian who's investing almost $2.6 billion his company into the US cricket structure. If I'm not mistaken, he's got the cricketing right of the T20 as well.
Is that right?
Yes, for $70 million. So there has to be private investors.
Matt Qureshi is another guy in Florida doing that as well. Yeah.
I think the next step in America should be APL, American Premier League. Just like IPL, just like Big Bash, just like
do you think we're there? There's a 5 years, 10 years away.
No, if the money is put in, I think...
who's going to go watch it?
So there should be a short, like in the sense that maybe 8 big cities where there is like a lot of Indian Pakistanis and other populations. So I think that will give you a start. But I think those teams should have some international players in it. I mean, international coaches should be involved. So I think they should try to replicate that model. That is the way to move forward. The second thing is that one of the easiest things that can be done, and ICC has to take a leading role as well, that do some international matches, you know. I mean, the problem is going to be the grounds here over here.
So, कितने grounds हैं यहाँ पे? जहाँ पे
I was reading there was only one ICC.
Fort Lauderdale?
That's
Fort Lauderdale.
Broward County.
Yes.
But didn't India play the West Indies there last year?
Yeah,
They did. I think one game was played, and it was fantastic wicket, and they scored heaps of runs, and one game it might have been rained out.
Yeah, so a couple of teams needs to, like, tri-city tournaments or tri-country tournaments needs to be, like Pakistan, India need to come. Canada needs to come. So I think international team needs to come and play. I mean, I think that will give a good start.
Yeah. If you look at a short-term goal, certainly something I'm involved in and very passionate about is our under-19 side. Okay, I'm consultant coach with them. We generally, in the under-19s, we lose to Canada. Every 2 years, we have the World Cup qualifiers for the under-19s. Canada won this year. They won the last 12 years. We qualified in 2004, I believe, or 2002. If we train our youngsters properly, if we put the structure together, we get them training together regularly, get some teamship between them. The skill set I've seen these guys have got, we can win in the next qualifier in 2019. Then all of a sudden we'll qualify. America under-19s, USA under-19s qualify for the World Cup, the under-19 World Cup in 2020. And guess what? Wouldn't it be fantastic if our first game was against Pakistan or India? All the community have asked, why are their kids involved in cricket? Where's the end game here? You know, there's no college scholarships yet. Then that would be the answer. Guess what? We've qualified for the World Cup. We've got India, and we're playing them in Johannesburg. Wouldn't it be fantastic?
That'd be amazing.
Wouldn't it be sensational?
I think right now cricket is not played as a profession in America. It's more of like a hobby.
It will come,
I was reading that the U.S. Team captain has a full-time job. So I mean that obviously has to change to make an impact.
Listen, when Ireland beat Pakistan in the World Cup, guys had to call back and say, you know what, sorry, we cannot make it to work. On Monday, we just beat Pakistan.
Can't make my shift.
We're in the It's a true story. So how, I mean, I don't understand. Like Canada, like 80% of the country is, you know, you can't even go in there. So I mean, I think 80% of their population is within 100 miles of U.S. borders. So it's a very cold place. I think you can't even play cricket probably 4 months of the year. And here we have a humongous country, so many Indians, Pakistan. Why Canada is doing better than we are?
Okay, so I've not coached a side against them. I've just studied a little bit of what they've done. I believe most of their players are based in Toronto, so they train and play with each other regularly. They have several grass wickets there as well, so they're used to more used to playing on grass. And they've just probably run their system a little bit more professionally, and they've just been very well focused on the end game of getting into World Cups. I don't know how many they've been in. They've certainly been in one, possibly two. And like I say, their U19s regularly qualify. So it would be a combination of those factors. If all the best USA under-19 players or USA cricketers were based in Houston, and we were well run, we had some funding, and we had lots of grass wickets, you would see growth straight away.
Right now, we're very spread. So let's talk about some talent. So you're seeing 10-year-old, 15-year-old, 18-year-old spread all over the country. Where do you see most of the talent? Is it in Dallas, Houston, Austin, LA? I think
great question. I've traveled all around the country coaching, meeting people. I would say the biggest talent pool in the US is in the Bay Area of California.
Really?
You're talking San Jose, San Francisco, particularly San Jose, Silicon Valley, huge DEC community there, and a massive interest in cricket and a heck of a lot of talent. So I've seen kids there, 9, 10 years old, that you think, yes, if we invest time in this youngster, you're a future USA player. Okay, that would be number one.
Wow.
Then you're probably looking at California's got 45 million people, so that's probably one reason as well. But then you come to Texas. Dallas has got a heap of talent, both Indian and Pakistani and Bangladeshi descended kids.
Right.
All right. Houston's got a lot of good youngsters, slightly younger, maybe age 9 to 12. We don't quite have the teenagers that Dallas do. Dallas has got some great teenagers. And then you'd also be looking at the tri-state area in New Jersey, Philadelphia, New York. Atlanta produces a lot of talent as well. There are a number of, probably 20 different cities. I'm sorry if I've missed any, but wherever cricket's played and there's metropolitan areas, you're going to see some big talent base. But California is probably number one at the moment.
There's a lot of money too in that area.
Big
so
time.
I mean, money's not an issue at all. So
I think that's where you start. You know, you start at 10 to 12-year-old. I mean, and I think U.S. cricket team should be divided into under 14, under 19, and then.
I'm sure there it is.
That's about to happen.
Right,
Actually.
but
Yeah.
right now I was looking through the U.S. Cricket team, and most players were like in high 30s or 40-year-olds. I mean, I think
the ones who probably
Yeah,
they're the immigrants who moved here. Now the next generation.
You must remember that I had a meeting with the USA cricket guys, Wade Edwards and Pabudu, the coach. The start of the new governing body, they're looking to roll out USA cricket, a new governing body in March, April. So I talk to these guys on a regular basis. You know, they're putting a lot of effort trying to get this to work and to be seen, to be transparent, so everybody knows what's going on, everybody's on message, and then dividing up the age groups and the talent groups and getting some road shows around the country so everybody is on message and together and aligned with what we're trying to do here. I'm obviously part of that process. It will happen, but it's not going to happen immediately. They need to get this, almost the legal stuff and the governance stuff sorted first before the operational stuff can happen.
So what do you think is, one thing that can make a most impact on US cricket?
I asked the same question to somebody involved at a high level the other day. I think if USA start winning, if USA get promoted to Division 2 or we qualify for the Under-19 World Cup, that will send shockwaves, positive shockwaves around USA cricket. The second thing I would say, we need more qualified coaches. I think the majority of coaches at the moment are very well intentioned, but they're probably not qualified. Let's get a coaching badge. And let's get people having careers as coaches here, like we have in Pakistan, India, and England, where you have full-time professional coaches who are working at their clubs, working at schools, doing one-to-one tuition. I see that as a great way forward for US cricket, where people are going into schools and they're delivering sessions, and then you get this incremental growth.
So not the grass wickets, the shortage of coaches. So if you pick one thing, it's the shortage of coaches, probably the big issue versus the grass wickets.
Grass wickets, we can still compete, I think, with the grass wickets because Canada won't have an enormous amount of them. And also when I played in West Australia 25 years ago, crikey, out in the bush, we all played on concrete wickets. So grass wickets is part of it. It is important. It's probably in the top 10. But if we can select our teams well, if we can get our teams fit, if we can get them focused, then we can do something special.
And to me, I think the most important thing would be penetrating into the school systems. I think that's where all the sports start over here, and I think this goes into the college, and then they play cricket in college. So I think parent teachers, and they need to push for it. So I think at schools level, the cricket has to penetrate.
It's a very interesting point you make, Riaz. California, 45 million people. Cricket's not a recognised sport. Can't coach it in public schools there. So I've been in touch with people there trying to you can't coach it there. So that's something that the new governing body obviously going to try and change. We want all 50 states to have cricket recognised along with basketball and baseball and soccer as a recognised sport. There have been some initiatives all over the place actually to bring cricket into schools, and the reception has been largely positive as far as I can see. Some great videos of teachers saying, I really enjoy coaching cricket, I want to do it again, but you can't do it unless it's a recognised sport in your state.
And I agree with Peter, once you get to that stage, US needs one big win, All this history you look at, Ireland beat Pakistan and they came on the forefront. Bangladesh beat Australia, they're leader of the pack. Afghanistan beat Scotland in the World Cup. They're...
Yeah, it helps a lot. A win fixes a lot of things. So
yeah.
We'll take a commercial break, guys. From the go ahead, please. Okay, great. So when you go to schools here, right? When you go to visit schools here, what is your pitch like? How do you present this? What are you asking them to do?
Whenever I teach cricket to Americans, I say three things. Firstly, it's a ball-hitting sport, just like baseball, so you've got an advantage straight away. However, there are maybe three, four key differences. Firstly, the ball's delivered with a straight arm. Secondly, there's a target, those three wooden pieces of wood. Thirdly, the ball bounces before you hit it. And fourthly, you tend to hit the ball in cricket with a vertical bat, whereas in baseball it's more of a horizontal bat. There are horizontal bat shots in cricket, the pull shot and the cut, we tell them that. But in general, the majority of the shots you'll have to hit with a vertical bat, basically hit the ball back where it's come from. Do you know what? Once we explain that and we start the ball rolling, they get it. Another thing that's really important is catching with your hands, two-handed, because Americans don't do that. It's all one-handed with a glove. You catch a hard ball with your hands. So some young people have never been shown how to do that. So we do a lot of catching, and then if we run a game, in my experience of coaching beginners, we do a lot of sessions with French students. You don't want them bowling because the delivery of the ball will not be accurate enough. So generally it's a coach feed game, and that is the model I would recommend. If you're going into schools in the US, it could be anywhere in the world, and you're teaching children or even adult beginners, do a coach feed game where you deliver the ball that can be hit, and then afterwards say you hit it, you run, you miss it, you're out.
That'd be kind of funny to watch because we grew up with playing.
I think the demographic you go after in school is the baseball, the kids that more likely to play baseball. You have to present it as a more exciting game than baseball. I think you have a potential to hit a home run on every
like
ball.
Baseball, I think they're going to stick with baseball. That's their thing.
Right.
And the other thing as well is I like baseball. I'm a Chicago Cubs fan, and I'm delighted that the Astros have won as well. I don't see it as a rival. I see it as another addition to the sporting landscape.
Right.
It's a positive addition. So I coach a young kid, Tane. He plays baseball and he plays cricket. No problem at all. Play as many sports as you can. We should be encouraging our kids to do that. That's the way I think that we should promote our sport. It's just another addition. Yeah. Lacrosse is the fastest growing sport in this country.
Big time.
Lacrosse, because people don't want to play American football.
So what is like the time commitment for some? Okay, what's a good age to start playing cricket in America?
Geez, start hitting balls, catching balls when you are a toddler. I'm serious. Roll a ball along the floor, hit, catch, throw, chase. You're going to learn biomotor skills doing that. Do not set an age on it. It's like when you take your kids swimming when they're 6 months old, a year old. You get them used to the water. No different. Give them a ball, let them chase after it. Don't worry about the technical side of it. Roll the ball, let them catch it, let them hit a stationary ball. It doesn't matter. Just let them do it. 2 years old, 3 years old, doesn't matter.
Fantastic. And what age did you start playing cricket at? So, probably the same 2 or 3 year old. Everybody did.
Yeah, I mean everyone. But I think it got more structure in middle school. I would say, middle school to high school. That is when it picked up.
Yeah. So one of the big issues that I was asking about last week was like, what is the cost, right? If somebody wants to start a club, right? Richmond Club, Sugarland Club, Katy Club. I mean, without having a cricket field, like it's kind of hard. I mean, land is luckily in Houston, not that expensive, especially the outskirts. But there has to be some sort of a budget, and I was kind of sharing with you that, you can hire one crew to manage 4, 5, 6 fields, instead of having one crew for one field. But I mean, I'm trying to figure out like what is the cost of starting a club? How many members do you need? How much do they need to pay? And I'm sure the models exist all over England.
But if you look at Houston at the moment, I believe, obviously I live in this city, we've got about 2,000 cricketers. It's about 300 junior cricketers. It's about 600 to 700 hardball adult cricketers and 1,000 tape ball cricketers. So the majority of adult cricketers who play cricket in Houston play tape ball, and they're just pick-up games played on fields or parking lots. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, there's a lot of that goes on in England as well, just recreational games, particularly in the Asian community. The key thing is if you come across somebody who's got some talent, somebody who needs to go further in the game, can you bring them in from that sort of recreational game into more?
All that thought, I want you to say that on live TV. We're coming back in a second. Welcome back, viewers. You guys should watch this whole show on Facebook, on YouTube, because there's so many great points that both of the gentlemen made about cricket in US and what age to start at. But you were saying that it doesn't matter, play somewhere, just play cricket.
Yeah, just play. I mean, look at the story about Wasim and Inzamam. I mean, I think, didn't Imran Khan see Inzamam in the nets? And he went, who's this guy getting forward to Wasim Akram? Then he saw Wasim Akram bowling in the nets previously before that. He's like, wow, who's this kid? There is still room for that. There's still room to spot talent in an environment that is not within the structure. But the key thing is, I would say, if you have a young player or any player within your system, and you're in the Indian or Pakistani community, any community, make sure that if he can or she can go further in the game, that you let somebody know. I had the same conversation today about a player in Arkansas. Actually, he's in California, but I was talking to a guy from Arkansas. He said, this guy's mustard. He's fantastic. He showed me a video of him. I was like, whoa, who's this guy? He told me his name. I said, I've never heard of this guy. I don't think the selectors know about him. He said he is very shy. He just plays, but he said everybody came to watch him bowl and bat in the last tournament, and it was a high-quality tournament, and people coming up and saying, who's this guy? So we must always remember that those kind of players, male and female, let's try and bring them into the system if they aspire to play representative cricket.
Makes a lot of sense. We have a call. कॉल पे तो नाम बताइए कहाँ से कॉल कर रहे हैं?
Yeah, hi, मैं न्यूयॉर्क से बात कर रहा हूँ. And I have a question with Peter Welling. He is doing a great job. But why is that? You have a stadium, cricket stadium in Houston, and then you have in Florida, but nobody paying attention on New York. We have a huge number of fans here, and people, the players, and you could find, great talent over here. Why leaving us alone?
So I'm sure Peter will go in more detail, but just to kind of, I don't know much about the Fort Lauderdale. I think it's where the head office is. But Houston के अंदर जो है, it's a private investment. Sahi साहब ने जो है, he is a cricket lover, and he put his own money, from what I know, and built a stadium. Frankly speaking, people, can do that in any city. I mean, you can do that in New York, you can do that in... So जो यहाँ पे जो investment हुई है, यहाँ जो मूसा stadium बना है, जो world class stadium है, that's a private investment, to answer your question. Peter, you understand the question? They're saying...
Yeah, I do, and it's a very valid question. I've had actually Facebook messages and people asking me that before. Saki Mohammed, who's built Musa Stadium in Houston, he's done it off his own back. He's had some financial support, but he's taken
Peter, this is your camera,
to do
right
that. He's taken the plunge to do that. Now, I also work with ACA St. Louis, who are a wonderful youth academy. They were playing most of their games on council-owned land, and they decided to raise money. Do you know what? They raised $700,000, and now they've built their own grounds, ACA Park, on the outskirts of St. Louis. They are the role model for how we can do it in this country. There's been some private investment, there's been some corporate investment, they did some fundraising, but they had a mission to do that, and now they've created this fantastic facility. So in New York, if you can get together, and I would really encourage you to do that, and I'll speak with you next time I'm there, if you want to come along to any of the meetings I go to, let's get together and try and build more of our own grounds so US cricket is in charge of its own facilities. We're not reliant on councils and cities. Can we have access? No, there's a soccer tournament on. That's what we have in the UK, where 99% of us own our own clubs.
That's what I'm...
Yeah, that's really important.
And I think this is a myth that the money is not, people not willing to spend money. Even if you look at the sponsors, Nike, Reebok, these are all American companies that are putting in money.
And look at Microsoft, what they're doing now.
Doing an ESPN, that bought the Cricket Info. So, there is interest there.
I say, if you see in Houston, we have a lot of charity events, right, for charity hospitals in Pakistan, or building a school. So, we go to events in Houston in one evening. It's not uncommon, and you have several of these every year for different charities, to raise anywhere from $300,000-400,000 to $1 million. It happens in what, 2 घंटे, 3 घंटे?
Right.
It happens in front of our eyes. Mm-hmm. So imagine, right? So I'm trying to figure out, if somebody were to do that, how do we do that? How much money do we need? Mm-hmm. How much land do we need to build? There's a lot of land in Texas. Can you do a couple of big, charity events, and would people donate some money?
I think, that's very good thing, but I think that won't make a major impact, I think at this point, I think money is there, people are interested. I think there's no coordination at this point. I think there has to be a stronger board, and it has to come from that. The leagues have to be strong. There should be only few leagues, and there should be a stronger leagues.
But Rasmus, there's an issue, right? Because we played cricket growing up in the streets, right? That's not an option here, right? So, my son plays in Katy. It's a big undertaking. Right. We're so busy on the weekends, and seriously, if it wasn't for Vinod, he won't be playing cricket. Because a lot of times, all we do is take him to Vinod, and he's like, Khurram bhai, he's like a brother. So, he does it for him, because I started coaching Ilo in the bedroom at the age of 2 years old. And so he was pretty good. I'll show you his video from the age of 7 or 8. He's not that good now. He was much better at the age of 7 or 8, because I got scared that he was getting so good at it at the age of 8 that what if he wants to take it too seriously? Honestly. I'll show you his videos from the age of 7 or 8, bowling, batting.
And you didn't see a future in the game?
I did not see a future. And I was like, and his dream was, I want to go to Oxford and play for Oxford.
Karan, we're going to change that. There are so many people who want to change that.
These are real concerns of parents, right?
Right.
We're going to change that.
And to take him to Katy, imagine if there was a cricket field in Aliana, where we live. There's a huge DEC community there, right? So if we had, there's a baseball field like every 2 miles in the city. Well, what if we had, 20, 30, 40 stadiums so you didn't have to drive, 30 minutes in traffic to take them there. You could just drive 5 minutes to take them there. I think that will make a difference.
Which pitch do you see more than any, which sporting pitch do you see more than any in America? Soccer pitches. So you've got baseball, you've got American football, and you've got basketball, but you see more, from what I can see, more soccer pitches than anything else.
It's very easy to maintain, right? Because you just need grass and...
We will do it. We'll do it.
And same as goes for cricket. I mean, if you just forget about it, if you don't even worry about the natural grass and all that, you can just... It is not that expensive to maintain a cricket field. Agar cement ki pitch hai, upar mat laga hua hai, sirf ghas hi kar. You also have to cut the grass, right? There's not a lot of stuff to do there, and it rains enough in the city. So, 10 months of the year you will have decent grass. I've been playing on this pitch for 15 years. It's not that we just need the land. We don't have,
I think that age your son is, unless the cricket comes into the school system, I think it's just going to be hard, I mean, I think he's going to take interest for a certain amount of time, then probably he's going to end up losing interest too, unless it's played in school and his friends are playing.
But see, now there's a lot of good club cricket. I mean, in Katie and what have you, so he's back in the mix because now he sees they can play a proper hardball. He makes fun of me that I play with tape ball because I play, you and your ladies' friends, 11 of you go play tape ball cricket. Yeah. And he's 12 and he plays hardball. And it's pretty structured.
But we are on an upward curve.
I agree with you.
Right, but we're not at the top of the curve. Yeah. We're at the start of an upward curve. So each month, each year, you're going to see stuff happening in US cricket that you thought, wow, this is happening and that's happening. Each adding value to what we're doing until we get to the place we want to be. It's not going to happen straight away, but I think next year, 2018, you will see an amazing year for USA cricket in what we start to build, and people will start to buy into this idea. And that's where the corporates come in. I believe some of the corporates were put off before from being involved because there was some stuff going on with the governing body. If they see an operation that, as the Aussies would call it, fair dinkum, if they think, yeah, this is a genuine organisation, they're really doing things properly, you will see the Microsofts and the Facebook start to invest. They've got a massive DEC
we have oil
population
companies
anyway.
in Houston. They don't know what to do with this money. I mean, Houston has so much money in all the oil companies there.
And we need support for some of our young cricketers. I work with several young Pakistani and Kashmir descended cricketers who are from backgrounds where finance is an issue, and I've managed to raise some money for them. The boy Majid Majid Zubair in Austin.
He's amazing from what I hear.
Sensational player.
Here by 17-year-old.
17. He played.
He hit 150 last week against all the grown-ups.
He played in the Houston Cricket League final. I mean, I've spoke to a lot of people. Not many people can recall a better innings by a youth player in USA history. 155 off 80 balls, and that was a good standard of cricket. There was a lot of first-class players playing in that, and he lives and breathes cricket. His dad Zubair lives in Austin. Great guy. He's brought him up, and he's raised a lot of these good young cricketers there. There's Saad there. There's Avais Mubarak there. There's a lot of good young cricketers there. We need to support these kids.
So we have about a minute left. What can, in your mind, take 30 seconds, you take 30 seconds. I mean, what can an average person do, in your opinion, like people like you, me, to support cricket in America?
I think solution of cricket in America is not top up. It's it's bottom up. I mean, it has to be from the top. I think U.S. national team has to be strong, and you have to pick it from the international players. Once they start winning, they're more visible, then a lot of young kids will join in. Right. I think that's the way to do it.
Peter, I want you to please take some time and kind of mention your website and what are the options available for people to get more information if they want to get in touch with you, if they have a child, they want to get, anywhere in the U.S. Kind of absolutely take this time to kind of talk about your website and what you can do for them.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty poor at that sometimes. When I speak and I go to dinners and stuff, and here I am on TV One, I sell cricket rather than selling my company. I mean,
please do it. I want you to do it because it's for everybody's benefit.
Yeah, I understand that. So Cricket Coaching America is my company. We have a Facebook page. We've got more people joining.
CricketCoachingAmerica.com.
Yep, that's my website. And then we have the Facebook page, Cricket Coaching America. I am involved in coaching all around the country. That is the biggest thing for US cricket, getting people working together and putting the game first. Let's take our egos out of the equation. There's been people disagreeing with each other and I won't work with this guy. Honestly, let's move past that. Let's put the game first. Let's put the kids first. Let's grow the base of players. both male and female, and those players who have got the ability to represent US and the desire, let's give them a pathway into the US representative teams. If we do that, our game will thrive in this country.
Did you not have like a bunch of kids at your home over Thanksgiving? I want you, please talk about that. You know what it is?
Yeah.
Him and his wife, they are remarkable people. What do you guys do and how much do you charge them? Please.
All right, so it was obvious to me that our best young players around the country weren't spending enough time with each other, and I wanted to work with them. So I started these residential camps, and we did one in June. And we had about eight players turn up, all of them with the potential to play for the US. We just ran another one at Thanksgiving. We had 10.
At your home?
Yeah, at our home. So
they stayed at your home for how long?
We don't want to put these boys in a hotel. We had a boy from California, young Vatzel, fantastic young 15-year-old opening batter and a brilliant fielder. His mum and dad had been much more comfortable when staying at our house than in a local hotel. So he stayed at our house for 7 days. There were 8 or 9 other guys there. My wife, God bless her, Jilly. If you're watching,
thank you, Jilly. We appreciate it.
I really mean it. Thank you. She cooked, she cleaned, she gave them some nutrition advice because she's pretty good on that. We did gym work. We don't just do cricket.
That's
we
their
did
home.
Fitness. We did swimming, recovery, gym work. We did some psychological stuff as well, some mental skills training. And you know what? We got another one in 2 weeks' time. We've got 9 guys coming from all over the country, including a young boy called Yasir from New Jersey, who I'm told is an outstanding young batter, 15 years old. He's been highly recommended to me. His dad contacted me last week. He's coming to stay with me.
Cricket Coaching America.
Cricket Coaching America. Yeah.
And I'm going to end with a positive note. 2034, Pakistan versus Australia, T20 semi-final. From there, is anybody...
2034?
Yes.
Pakistan versus Australia? Or
no,
US.
US
what I meant. US versus Australia. Not going to happen. Okay, we'll see, inshallah. Thank you so much, Peter, for your time.
My pleasure.
Dr. बहुत शुक्रिया आपके आने का viewers I hope you enjoyed the show and please take care of yourself and inshallah we'll see you next week. Allah Hafiz. Good. They wanted me to end it a couple of minutes ago, but
yeah,
we're still on Facebook, but that's fine. So great discussion.